Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, did you, it's been almost a month and a half since we've talked, well, not us talked, but been on here recently. So did anything happen in the past month and a half that you would like to tell everybody about, or something that happened to you or anything like that?
I mean, I was just in California this past weekend.
Yeah, and how'd that go?
It went well.
That's good.
I was in Long Beach, just like close to Los Angeles, for a convention.
Did you see anybody famous, like movie star famous?
No, not really. I bet I would have if I flew to LAX, but since I flew to Long Beach, I didn't really see anyone famous, you know?
That sucks.
That's the one thing. But I mean, it was kind of nice. The Long Beach airport was like empty. Like I said, there's only like 10 like terminals, so.
Wow, that's not a lot of terminals.
Yeah, so it was pretty empty. It was nice too. Cause like I said, there was no traffic in or out.
That is nice, considering any airport you ever go to, it's always a zoo.
I ate at some places that like weren't around here because I don't want to go to places from here. I went to this place called The Yard, which is apparently really popular over there. It was pretty good. We also went to this place called Islands.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Did it
but it was,
have a tropical theme?
I don't know, but they had it was like kind of like Margaritaville themed.
Ooh, hello.
You know what I mean? Like it had like the tropical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a Mai Tai. It was pretty nice.
Ooh, yeah, those were good.
Their happy hour Mai Tais were like $6.
Really? Wow.
And it was the strongest drink I've had in my entire life. Like, I went the next day, too, and I got another one because it was during happy hour and our friend was eating. I didn't actually eat there. I was just like, give me another Mai Tai. It's $6.
You can't beat that.
For like an alcoholic drink anywhere, normally like $14 or $15.
They are. I know. Alcohol's gotten expensive anymore, it seems like.
I know. You gotta drink at a happy hour. And luckily, like, because of the jet lag, that seemed like a normal time for me to drink. Because it was like, I don't know, like 4 p.m. or something.
Hey, you know what they say. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I know. That's what it felt like. Because their happy hour was like 3 to 6, so it was kind of nice.
Huh. Yeah, cool.
We also ate at like some fancy seafood place.
Did you? Me and Dad ate at a fancy steak and seafood place for dinner for New Year's Eve. And
it was
you
like
would
on
be
the coast. The place.
Really? Oh, probably fresh caught
because
fish.
it was like right on the dock area.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I also went to the aquarium while we were there because we did a photo shoot inside the aquarium.
Cool. I did see one of your pictures from that. That looked like fun.
I mean, yeah, and they let us. So instead of normally being like $36 to get the aquarium, if we showed our badge after a certain time, it was like $16.
Wow, that's a good deal
for like an aquarium. Yeah, and then Belinda paid for my ticket since I was doing the shoot for her.
Did you see any mating animals while you were there?
No,
like we saw at the Georgia Aquarium?
There was so many freaking children in there, though. We didn't stay in there
really?
long, so we just did the photo shoot and kind of left because we were like, Which we also had stuff we had to do later.
Got ya.
For the price, it was worth it to do photos because it was like one of the places she really wanted to do photos at for that character. Because like his bedroom is literally an aquarium.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, huh?
So it was like, okay, this is literally, we can take a photo in an aquarium. That
works. Yeah, that works. Cool.
We got to take photos on the dock. It was really pretty, and like the palm trees. And the weather was really nice, surprisingly. Considering.
Right, considering everybody else had
what was
torrential
happening in
rain
North
and
California.
flooding. And...
Yeah, I heard about it all weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of people come from North Cal to south. I think it's like a 5-hour drive or something from, at least that's where from Belinda was. She was telling me.
That's not too bad of a drive, though, I guess, to go,
it is when you're driving in California, because people are, like, crazy, and they told me this, they kept mentioning this one area, like, it's a road, like a highway or something called the Grapevine, and they said it's, like, terrifying during that kind of weather, because it's, like, a one-lane highway, which is strange.
Oh, That sounds creepy and strange, yeah. And
Yeah.
with the torrential rain that they had,
Yeah,
I'd
they
be
had
worried
like
that the road would get
whiteout
flooded.
conditions is what they told me. Like they could not see anything in front of them.
Wow,
Some of them drooped
that's
down
scary.
because I think bad weather was like we flew in Wednesday and we kind of missed it, thankfully. But she had to fly through it to get there, and she said it was
geez.
turbulence.
Oh, I bet that had been some nasty turbulence she hit too, probably.
Yeah, and then one of our friends' planes got delayed because of the weather too. It was a fun weekend though.
That's good.
Beginning of the year convention.
Yeah, nice warm convention, right?
It was. It was like freezing. 60, 70 degrees.
Nice.
It was more sunny. Like I said, it did rain the first day, but we were just inside most of the time, and I was trying to recover from that jet lag. I think I went to bed at like 8 p.m. or something the first night.
Jet lag will kill you. I know. That's what happened to us when we went to Vegas. We ended up going to bed early the first night because we were just so tired.
I had a layover in Vegas, actually.
Did you? Cool.
Yeah.
Did you go play the slot machines that are in the terminal there?
No.
Ah.
It was like a really short layover. It was like an hour.
So I basically ran right from one end to the other.
Yeah, one of Belinda's friends actually was on the flight home, like to Las Vegas with me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of nice. And then, but their plane was like a 40-minute layover, and it took us 10 minutes to land. So they had like 30 minutes to run.
Ooh.
From one spot to the next. Yeah, I was like, ooh. Oh, that's what I did. Did you do anything fun? At least last weekend.
We went out to dinner. We went to a place called Strong's Brick Oven Pizza, and then we went to the casino in Lawrenceburg there. But we didn't win anything, and their machines were really tight, so we kind of left like super early.
Yeah, I heard that there's like sports gambling now.
Oh yeah, that's really big. But Indiana already had it. It's Ohio that just got it.
Oh, yeah, it was Ohio.
Yeah. And it was pretty dead there, too, when we were there. Like, no, I mean, it was, like, empty. It was kind of weird. But
it is strange.
It was nice. Well, dinner was nice. Dinner was really good. They make really good pizzas there. It's, like, in brick ovens. It's very yummy.
Ooh, it's nice.
Yep. But that's all we did. So, what have you got for us this week? First of all, we should say welcome back to everybody. This is our
season 3.
Yep, season 3.
And this is coming out on a very unlucky day, Friday the 13th.
Yep. So
when you'll hear this will be we're not recording on the 13th.
Yeah.
But
so be careful on the 13th.
Be careful.
Don't walk it under any ladders or watch out for those black cats and all that unlucky stuff. But yeah, so we want to welcome any new listeners that we might have to our little podcast family here. And I will let Kara take it away. She's going to go first this week with her story that she chose. So what are we doing?
So if you Google haunted eBay painting, that's basically what this whole story will come up. But it's the painting itself is called The Hands Resist Him. It's a very creepy looking painting. It was painted by artist Bill Stoneham in 1972. And the painting is actually based off of a photo of him from when he was 5 years old. It was a photo of him and another little girl. They were just standing by like a door. Mm-hmm. The painting depicts, it's very similar to the photo. It's a young boy and a female, but the girl was turned into a doll in the painting. She's a female doll he's standing next to. Okay, and they're standing in front of a glass paneled door. Mm-hmm. And there are hands pressed up against the window. Like they're reaching out to him.
Ooh.
It's very creepy look. You'll have to, you may or may not want to look at it after I talk about it, because a lot of people reported just staring at the image online has caused some crazy stuff to happen to them. Oh, so maybe not look at this on Friday the 13th.
Yeah, don't look at it on Friday the 13th. Yeah, maybe wait a day or two.
Maybe wait. So the painting was first displayed at the Vane Garden Gallery in Beverly Hills, which is California, so I thought it was kind of ironic that we're still in California. And the painting was actually purchased by John Marley, the Godfather. You know what I'm talking about? The actor?
Not really, but oh, okay.
You don't remember the Godfather?
Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't know that was the name of the actor.
Oh. I was like, Mom, come on. But yeah, so it was owned by him, and then after he died is when he died, and then no one knew what happened to the painting. And a couple discovered the painting left behind an old brewery.
Wait, they found the painting behind an old brewery? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's where they found it.
Gotcha, okay.
following his death, like, basically was just left outside behind an old brewery. And then this is, like, in the 2000s. So it was missing, or, like, not missing, but, like, it was owned by him, and then the couple found it.
Okay.
And the painting was listed on eBay in 2000. So bidding started at $199, and the finished total was $1,025. There were 30 bids on this.
Okay.
And so one morning, this is in the listing. We're going to talk about the listing because the listing is really crazy. One morning, the seller's 4-year-old daughter had claimed the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room at night.
Okay, that's creepy.
It's a little creepy.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what the heck? And this is a quote directly from this listing, because the listing is very erratic and, like, kind of crazy. It says, "Now, I don't believe in UFOs or Elvis being alive, but my husband was alive."
What?
It was very strange. So her husband sets up a motion trigger camera in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they want to see if the painting's really coming to life, you know?
Right.
And so after 3 nights, they had a bunch of footage and, like, photos depicting the boy leaving the picture.
What? Okay, that's crazy.
Yes. And it was enough for them to decide that they wanted the painting to go, basically to sell it. That's why they decided to sell it, because
well, yeah, hello.
they were freaked out. And they actually included 2 photos of supposedly the boy walking out of in the listing. It was the painting, and then there were 2 photos of supposedly the boy leaving the painting.
Huh.
This is also direct quote from the thing. It says, "Warning. Do not bid on this painting if you are susceptible to stress-related disease, faint of heart, or are unfamiliar with supernatural events. By bidding, you release the owner of all liability in relation to the sale of any events happening after the sale. This painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life. By bidding, you agree to exclusively bid on the value of the artwork with disregard to the last 2 photos featured in the auction, and hold the owner harmless in regard to them and their impact expressed or implied."
Wow.
Isn't that a crazy freaking...
Yes. That is so crazy.
I think this is one of the first times that, like, you know how, like, haunted dolls are, like, a thing?
Yes.
I feel like this was the first, like, haunted item that was trying to be sold sold on eBay,
right.
Which is why it's really significant. And it's
this
like
is why
the internet,
how it all began.
Yeah, the internet thought, like, it was absolutely bonkers. Like, it went viral. Like, this listing went viral, especially for that time, 2000s. The internet was not very popular, you know?
No, it just started.
Like, so, it actually got 3,000 views, which is a lot for that time.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people who viewed the listing actually reported some very unusual experiences, and that's why I said you shouldn't look at it. One person reported hearing an exorcist type voice and, like, a blast of hot air hit their face when they looked at it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I was like, what the heck?
Okay. Weird.
Someone reported becoming ill after viewing the painting. And then someone attempted to print a photo of the painting.
Oh gosh, don't ever do that.
And they had so many issues, and it kept messing up the painting every time they tried to print it out.
Huh, that's weird.
Which is kind of crazy. And then, so they did get sold, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot.
How much did it sell for,
like I said,
by the way?
$1,025.
That's
not that much, especially for how many views. I forgot to say, at the end of the listing, so it had, like, that whole disclaimer, like, oh, if something happens.
Right,
it also says, by the way, if you know someone qualified to bless their house, please let us know. We're trying to find someone. Oh, they wanted their house blessed after the thing left.
I don't blame them. I would too. That's crazy.
So the person who it was purchased by the owner of Perception Gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Do they have it on display? Can we go see it?
I don't know. I couldn't find that. But you can, like, view it online. Like, the artist himself has put it online, because there's some more crazy stuff that's about to happen.
Oh, okay.
Not really related to like the haunted thing, but just kind of like what happened because of how viral it went and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, the person went up for an interview, and he actually said that there were no unusual things that he personally experienced.
Really?
After having thing in their care. But this person did receive multitude of emails about it, though. Like, people who just happened to see it having experiences, just, like, looking at it online, which is kind of crazy to me.
That is crazy, huh?
So I don't know if it's just, like, the energy, people are feeding into.
Yep. Right.
But, so, the the original artist actually was contacted to create 2 sequel pieces to the original painting.
Wait a minute, I thought the original artist died, though.
No, the person who bought the painting died.
Oh, I thought you were saying the artist died and then the painting was left behind that
no,
warehouse or wherever
it was purchased by John Marley, remember?
Oh, okay.
It was purchased by John Marley, and then following his death, the painting was found.
Right, okay, gotcha.
So it was after the guy died.
Okay. So the artist
was alive the entire time. Okay. And he was just like, this is crazy how like viral his painting was going because so many people were having like these experiences. But they did create contact to create 2 sequels to the original painting. Which it was called The Resistance at the Threshold, which is also a very eerie looking painting. Which I mean is following the set. It's supposed to be like a direct sequel. And then there was another one in 2012 called The Threshold of Revelation.
Huh.
And then he was contacted again to create a prologue piece, which he did paint. And it was called The Hand Invented Him. The one I think that is the creepiest, other than the first one, is he was a final painting. Was actually released in 2021, which is very recent.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That was like 2 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
And it's called What Remains. It's very creepy looking.
Really? I have to go check these out.
And like yeah, you should definitely go look at them. They're really interesting, and you can view them directly on the artist's website. So clicking and viewing it's always helpful. I found a listing for the original painting like on Etsy. You know how people like print
sell like print of it? Yeah.
It was like
copies.
$46,000.
What?
For
Just
a
for
copy?
A print? It's not even
copy.
original?
It's not the original, no. It's a copy of the print.
That's
I was like,
crazy.
what the heck? Who's gonna buy this?
Well, somebody probably did. Otherwise, they wouldn't be selling it for that.
A money laundering scheme, if I had to take
probably.
a guess.
Yeah.
But I was just like, what the heck?
That's crazy. Huh.
But yeah, so I would definitely not look at that today, unless you were feeling brave. But they're really, like, especially some of the later ones are, like, really kind of creepy. And apparently he said that it's supposed to be kind of, like, the hands are, like, the infinite possibilities of, like, where his life could lead him as a child for the original, the hands resist him painting. And then the doll that's standing with him is supposed to help guide him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting take on it, but okay.
It is. I mean, it's really interesting, but really it resonated with a lot of people because a lot of people can't even look at it for long periods of time without getting like uneasy.
Really interesting, huh?
But yeah, I've never heard of this, and I'm surprised because like I like haunted dolls. I think that's cool. Like people selling on haunted dolls, I've always thought about buying on eBay. But yeah, that's like the OG haunted painting on eBay. The more you know. All right, well, what do you have for us today?
Okay, so this week I am going to be talking about a gentleman by the name of Charlie McCarthy, who was actually recognized for being a successful ventriloquist in the 20th century. Now, if you don't know what a ventriloquist is, that's somebody that usually has a puppet that they will voice through their voice and make it look like the puppet is actually speaking when it's really the ventriloquist. So, anyway, it all starts off that he has this dummy or puppet that was very unusual looking puppet. And things would take a dark turn, as they usually do with stories of this type. So, in 1920, McCarthy became famous by introducing his puppet Edgar to the people. And this was a different looking puppet than the usual ones that we all see, the wooden looking ones, where their mouth's been cut and stuff like that. This particular puppet actually looked like an 8-year-old boy. And it was, most puppets are usually maybe 2 feet tall, maybe a little less than that. This puppet was actually about 3.5 feet tall, so the size of an 8-year-old boy. And it was very large, and its features were it looked very realistic. And that kind of made people uneasy when they saw this. So it had, like I said, his complexion was a very kind of light complexion, and his hair looked like a real boy's. And his feature seemed very expressive, even though that his eyes were made out of wood. Besides this doll, McCarthy's ability to change his voice without showing any type of facial recognition was what made him so popular with people and made his show so famous. The doll's name, by the way, was Edgar. However, back then, some people kind of thought that it was the work of the devil, what he was doing, and that he had been conjuring up the spirits of the dead to make the voice of his puppet talk. And they didn't like that. So these superstitious people started rumors about Charlie and Edward. And these rumors spread very fast about him using witchcraft and magic. And people started to ban their children from being able to come see him during his performances. And as these types of things happened, people started to talk about Charlie and Edgar even more when they found out that Charlie had a very strange fascination with his puppet Edgar. He would take care of this puppet as if it were his own son. He would try and feed it. He would bathe it. I mean, he was like doing all these really creepy things
That's creepy.
Yeah, that people were very off-put by. He also would not allow any of the staff that worked at the theaters and that he would present at, or any of the general public touch Edgar at all. He was the only one that was allowed to touch Edgar, and he was the only one that was allowed to put him in or out of his case or box that he kept Edgar in. So his career ended one night while he was touring the United States. When the show was over, he went to his dressing room and locked himself in there for hours on end. Now, the theater workers at the time realized that he hadn't left the theater yet, and so they went back to his dressing room and were knocking on the door to let him know that, hey, it's time to go. We're locking the theater for the night. Well, when he didn't answer his door, they all got a little nervous because of all the rumors that had been flying around about, him being into witchcraft and all that, and some other rumors. They were really uneasy with them trying to open the door themselves, so they went and they called the police. They called the police thinking, the worst. So when the police arrived, they had to knock the door down, basically, to get into the room. When they got inside, what they saw chilled them to their core. So what they found was a lifeless McCarthy laying on the ground in a pool of his own blood with his neck slashed, and both of his eyes were missing. They assumed that someone had come into the room, killed McCarthy, and that they had taken Edgar because they couldn't find Edgar anywhere. And you know how McCarthy was with Edgar. He loved that puppet, and it was always around or near him. So they're searching all over the dressing room to try and find, figure out where Edgar was and all that. So they're frantically searching the room. They're searching the theater. And they finally did find the box. And when they opened up the box, Edgar was in there, and the look on his face was different than what, they had seen previously in the show earlier in the evening. And they say that he had this, evil looking look on his face. So the police decided that they needed to grab Edgar and take them with them so that they could run some tests on Edgar to try and find out and solve the case of what happened here, to see if there were, any fingerprints left or, any type of that stuff. And to find out what happened to Charlie, like who his killer was or whatever. So while they were analyzing Edgar, the puppet, they discovered something quite terrifying. They discovered that Edgar was not a puppet, and that it was actually the mummified remains of an 8-year-old child. So they found fingerprints on the puppet that were actual, like, real fingerprints. And they also found that his face had been covered with a latex mask to make him so he didn't look so pale and so, like, dead looking, I guess you would say, and in his lifeless body. So they could, so they had to figure out, who this boy was and how Charlie had managed to keep his body from stinking. Because, I mean, if you think about it, he had this puppet for a couple of years at least. And you know how, like, when a body starts to, it stinks. I mean, think about it. When you find a dead animal, it stinks for a while before it totally decomposes. So he was carrying around this, like, lifeless body of this boy. And they don't know who this boy was. So it was later determined that the boy that Charlie had been carrying with him was actually his own son, who had died a while back. Yeah. It turned... Yeah, right? I know. I mean, like, who does that? That's just nuts. They said that Charlie was so saddened with so much sadness and grief over the loss of his son that he decided that the best way for him to keep him and always have him with him was to turn him into his puppet. So, interestingly enough, though, they never found the person who killed Charlie or took his eyeballs. And there's a lot of speculation that the puppet did it. In retaliation for him, taking his body all those years and, keeping it around and stuff. Also, on an interesting note, I have found 3 movies that you all might be interested in that are about puppets. Yeah, so I wanted to just real quickly tell you about these 3 movies that I found that you guys should check out if you're still interested in the whole puppet thing.
Oh, they should check out that one movie that's coming out. Have you seen it? Megan?
Oh, yeah, Megan,
that
yes.
one looks interesting.
Yeah, that one does look weird and interesting.
Creepy. Yeah.
It is. That doll, ooh, I don't know. I don't like
her. Yeah.
No. She looks fake, but she also looks real. It's really bizarre. Yeah. But, so the first movie that you guys should check out, it's called Devil Doll, and this was made in 1964. It has a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, so don't yell at me if you don't like it, because it wasn't that great. If it's not that great. The story behind that one, or the kind of rundown on it, is it's a ventriloquist who hypnotizes a newsman's girlfriend to put her soul into his dummy Hugo. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Chucky here. Now this was before Chucky was ever made. And it's a British horror movie. So take that with a grain of salt when you watch that movie.
Oh, God.
The next one, actually, I've never heard of this. I want to see it, though. It sounds actually pretty good. And it actually has a very good rating on Rotten Tomato. The next movie is called Magic. It was made in 1978. It has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which... that's a pretty good rating for Rotten Tomatoes. This one is about a ventriloquist who is at the mercy of his dummy while he tries to renew a romance with his high school sweetheart. So we can all only imagine how terrifying this one is, with the dummy trying to, get in the middle of this guy hooking up with his high school sweetheart. And actually, funny to note that Anthony Hopkins, who starred in Silence of the Lambs, that before he starred in that, he starred in this movie called Magic. And he started with this, creepy dummy. Then the third and final movie that I wanted to tell you guys about is called Dead Silence. Now, this is a more recent movie. It was from 2007. It had a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, but actually on the IMDb, had a pretty high rating. So I don't know what the deal is on that, why the one's lower than the other. But it's about this guy who basically returns to his creepy hometown to unravel the mystery of how his wife got murdered.
Oh.
And while he's there, he learns of the legend of Mary Shaw, who was a murder ventriloquist who now haunts the town. So, like I said, take that with take all these with a grain of salt. But, if you want to continue on the dummy thing or the puppet thing and you want to chuck them out, go for it. And then finally, I found a place that you could go if you really are interested in ventriloquism and the puppets that they used. It's called the Vent Haven Museum, and it's actually here near us in near Cincinnati in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. And
I think I've heard about this.
Didn't you go
there? No, but I
there?
wanted to go there.
Didn't you go there with Grandma?
It's right by Grandma, isn't it?
Well, guess what? I know, yes. And get this, they just rebuilt a brand new building for their museum.
What?
Yes. So
next time I'm down there,
we're going to go, yeah.
I want to go.
It opens in spring of 2020. It opens this spring, basically. It's a brand new museum
Building?
that they're opening.
Oh,
yeah, they
cool.
just built. Anyway, this museum is the world's only museum dedicated to ventriloquism. This museum was opened in 1973 by a gentleman by the name of W.S. Berger, who was obsessed with ventriloquism. The museum houses over 900 dummies used by ventriloquists from the 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries. And funny to note, when I was looking through some of the pictures, they actually have one of Jeff Dunham's puppets in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Do they have any Jim Henson stuff?
I believe they do. I didn't get to see all their pictures, so we'll have to definitely go in that. We'll do like a whole thing for the podcast on that. But anyway, so some of the things that you can find in this museum are, like I said, they have 900 dummies or puppets that you can view. They have scripts of what ventriloquist people had written, out for their little show that they were going to do. They have photos of famous ventriloquists with their puppets, dummies. They have posters from different shows. They have recordings that you can listen to and see. But like I said, this is they built a brand new building and it's opening up this spring. So, and it's in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. So definitely check that out. And like I said, we will be going there and we'll give you guys a rundown once we go. Yeah.
I've been wanting to go there.
Yeah, that place looks really cool. I thought Grandma took you there once, but I guess not.
No, but I think Kyle, someone I knew I worked with went, I think, once.
Oh, really? Okay. So anyway, that is all I have this week. And the name of the museum, again, is called the Vent Haven Museum. And that you can find them on Facebook. They have an Instagram page, and they have their own website. So check them out if you're interested. Like I said, their new museum will be opening in the spring here. But that's all I have this week. So... And be careful of Friday the 13th. Anything else, Kara, to add?
Nope.
Right.
Yeah, just don't look at those photos unless you're ready. I thought they were spooky, but I mean...
You've been good so far?
I haven't had anything bad happen yet.
Yeah, you better sprinkle the holy water and, say some prayers.
So, if you enjoyed our podcast today, follow us on Instagram at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast. And please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps the show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for a new episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.